hospital.
Yeah, across the street, across from the dental
On the, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I was born.
We,
Yeah. What a mistake that was.
no.
So we're back. The window's open, and you got a straight shot right there. The wind's coming in. I pulled the shade up because it'll be banging around like crazy. Yeah. So. Yeah. So we can shift this way a little bit. And Otis, you can stand. You need the pole, so yeah, you're good there. And then Mara, you can stand here, and Peter will come in. I think he'll go there. Oh, there's Maria. Yeah. I, yeah, Otis sometimes uses the pole to, um, so, yeah, so, yeah, yeah. Uh, actually, I have one. Did you really want it? Next time you come, I'll have it. I'll have it there. It's a red one. I would make a joke, but I won't. Because this is live. Okay, ready? We'll start. Otherwise, we'll be holding everyone back. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. And this side. So Maria can shift over a little. Maybe Mara can shift a little. Yeah, because the camera, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, that's fine. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Sana. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Yeah, you can go a little bit back. Yeah, that's it. And there's a pole there, so you can be careful there. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands in your waist. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center cross. Knees. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center, hands on your waist, neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Rotating. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, spread your feet. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, we stretch it out a little. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 switch, switch, okay, center, okay, we can shake it out. Okay, hands up, pull in, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands in your waist, shoulder roll, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Reverse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, press, exhale, inhale. And stop. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, wrists. Reverse. And Sana. Palms down. Bigger circle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, shake it out. Do a little side to side shifting. And start to lift up. And Sana. Okay, we'll switch. Put one foot forward. We're going to lift, insert needle, and switch. And Sana. Okay. Leg swing. Right leg. Switch. And center. Side to side. Switch, other side. And center. Shake it out. Deep breathing again. Pull in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, hands here. Silk grilling. Switch. And center. Okay, open and close. Switch. And center. Okay, next. circular movements. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Okay, palms down. Extend. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Diagonal flying. Switch. Okay, center. Cloud hands. And then palms down. Okay, now we lift up, carry tiger to the mountain. Okay, infinity sign. Okay, form the fists. Okay, palms together. Strum the lute. Okay, turn. Draw the bow. Okay, fan to the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, palms down, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, shake it out. So last week we spent a lot of time on the warm-up exercises. We spent, I don't know, good hour and 15 minutes just kind of understanding, how the warm-ups and the fundamentals kind of tie into the sequence. So because it just goes back to what I talk a lot about is, we're creatures of habit. So when we do things over and over again, the body and, your mind and body sort of start to understand and assimilate the movements. And then it sort of enters it does enter your subconscious motion. And when that happens, then you start to evolve. You start to see more detail and experience more things. Part of that is the discovery. Because when you're doing a movement, like silk railing or even any of the postures, over time your body starts to create that muscle memory that we talk about a lot. And then there's the sequential event. Because when you're integrating your body, the sequential event is, when does one part move at a specific time? So that's kind of tying in, that synchronization, which synchronization is just timing. Your body works like a machine. So when you have a geared unit like a car or a watch, that synchronization is what happens to the gearing. So if we look at our joints as gears or pulleys or whatever, they're working together so one drives the other. And when it drives, it becomes that synchronization. So when our hands move, they start to create a timing. So when this is forward, this is back, this is forward, this is back. When this is up, this is down. So that relationship starts to build. And your body gets more intelligent. It gets smarter in the sense that this side knows what it's supposed to do, this side knows what it's supposed to do, this leg knows what it's supposed to do, this leg knows what it's. But then all of these, your appendages are tied through here, your torso. So when your hands start to move, your body starts to connect. And if you have a connection between the lower half and the upper half, then you have that upper-lower coordination that we talk about. So where are these happening? It's happening when we're doing this. Right? It's happening when we're doing this. So that's upper-lower coordination. So how does upper-lower coordination work? Well, the hands and the feet have a relationship, or they kind of work, together. Your elbows and your knees work together. So everything that we're doing that kind of builds that synchronization starts to become a feeling, but it also becomes that relationship where it starts to work together as a unit. Okay, so those are examples of what upper and lower coordination is, because those are the most obvious. The upper lower coordination, some of the postures gets a little bit more complicated, because not only are you going, this is at the same time practically, both knees working together. But when one knee bends and then the other one straightens, and then you have that synchronization, it starts to change a bit in the sense that the hands are doing something different from this that is working in pairs. When the hands are doing something different, then the synchronization timing changes between the two parts of your body. So once you start to do different actions, then it becomes a crisscross reference. You know, this hand is tied to this leg, this hand is tied to that leg, and it starts to become something that builds the balance and motion. That relationship is the active, passive action and movement. So what's an active movement? When it's sort of generated and dominant on that side, or it's the physical action, but it should still be gentle. The opposite of that would be the passive action. So I could go like this as an action, then I could go like this as an action. So this is doing something. So that's not good because it's imbalance in motion. If I'm doing this as an action, this becomes a passive movement, meaning that it's happening because of a function of somewhere else. So a function of something else means that if I'm bringing my hand to this point as an active motion, and then when I start to turn another part of my body, which is your waist or your torso, then this hand no longer is as physical as the driving force, which is your torso or your legs. So in this case, when I go forward, this knee bends, and there's creating an action, transitioning weight to the front leg, but it's also creating a movement in that direction, right? So if I came from here and I got it to here, and I start to move, then I'm starting to go forward with the arm. It's going to go from here to here, but not because I went like that. It's because I went like this. So you see, that's a passive action. And at the same time, why is passive action giving you the ability to soften your movement? Because when I go from here to here, I can relax my elbow, sink my shoulder. So what happens is you create a downward direction of movement without trying. It takes very little effort because gravity is working with you in this case. And then when I turn my body, you see my hand moved. And then I start to relax and let it go down. So that becomes the physical side. I start to go. But then I start to pull back. And I create this turn. And then I go forward and I sink and then I unwind and I open and then I turn. Like cloud hands, like silk reeling, actually any movement that goes down. So while we call it cloud hands and we're calling it palm strikes face, the circles are the same. What happens is it's a change of, a plane of movement or a change of conscious intent, meaning while I go like this, I'm using this. While I go like this, I'm using this. If I go like this, I'm using this, but then when I turn, I'm using this as a, intent. So intent becomes part of functionality. What is that moving going to do? And what is the mind directing it to do? So if I go like this, and I go like this, and I go like this. So those are just motions, but we just tie it to an action and give it a name. Then it becomes whatever we're talking about. If I went like this, and I came back like this, or I came like this, and I came like this, that's a motion. But I could be using a paint roller and rolling the wall on a downstroke. On an upstroke, I might be going like this, and then come back like that. So motions are created and functionality is determined. So if I was painting a ceiling, would I go like this, or would I just hold it against the ceiling in a stable position and just kind of walk this way and walk that way and put a little effort in there and shift the weight? So that's doing something like painting. I use that as a technique when I paint ceilings, and it's really kind of effortless. When you go like this, your shoulders get really tired. So when you're doing things, or even like, say you were rolling out the floor, if you shift your weight, there's really no effort in that line of movement. But what you have to do is direct the direction and soften the motion to have a feeling of how much, you're going to squeeze out of that roller. So that's what we're doing when we're moving forward like this. When we sink down, and then we turn, and we lift and turn. But the lifting is not a physical lift. It becomes a sinking, because what goes down must go up. What goes up must come down, right? So if you bring these ideas into your movement, then you can start to discover how much strength you actually use. So in Tai Chi, the whole concept is to not use strength. Direct the movement from the mind. But you can't use absolutely no strength, because you wouldn't be able to create any action. So that's when sensitivity comes in, your proprioception, your sort of assimilation of that motion based on what you see as a pattern and what you feel as an action becomes, all of that learning. So the mind-body relationship is pretty deep. Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. Yeah. No, it's just you. No, because the action is not this. The action is this. You see? So your elbow actually controls a lot of the movement in the upper extremities, or the motion. So you can't actually go with your palm down like this and your palm like this without a rotation inside the shoulder joint. So if there's restriction in the shoulder joint, then it's going to feel difficult to do this, because you're trying to lift and then change the exposure of the different parts of your forearm. So what has to happen is you're folding and you're unfolding, and there's a lot of dimension there. What you see from a front view is a circle. When you see from a side view, my arms going down, and then they're sinking and falling and rising and falling in time with the legs. So the up and down movement that we just did, or the forward and back that we just did in that example, takes us to this example, that the motion is driven from the legs. It's really not the hands. So when the hands create the pattern driven from the legs and allowing the manipulation of your skeletal structure, the joints in the elbow and the shoulder and the wrist, that's what I mean by softening the movement, because it's a function of something else. The action is in the legs, but we don't see the legs, we see the arms. So as your movements become more integrated, then the blending of that becomes more directed. So while the hands are doing this, so what actually happens is this whole shoulder girdle becomes part of that movement, but you don't see it. Mainly because you can't see something that your body doesn't recognize and doesn't do. And it doesn't do it because it's not wired to do it. It's wired, but you're not doing it because the event doesn't happen, because on that neurosynaptual level, it's not there. It's just there as a, so, it's like your house. You put all the wires in, but, there's no lights or switches. So nothing happens. It's just wired. So the same thing happens in the body. It's wired, but it doesn't have the switches to create the actions at the different times. It has everything there to do it, but it's missing something. It's missing the information, and it's missing, the additional parts that get it to happen. So that's the connection between here and that area, and what has to fire when. Because it's not doing that, it really is not connect, doesn't know. So you have to go through the process of building that, and then the body gets more intelligent. It's like these smart homes today, right? I use all these analogies only because that's what the world is coming to. It's using all these systems that we kind of possess in our own body, that they're making things automatic, they're making things, happen because of these additional things that they've developed, and that could have only happened because of technology and all these micro things and all these back in the day you'd probably need a box this big to turn the lights on after someone did something that was pulling switches and get it to happen. Now you can do a lot of amazing things, but mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what I was kind of referencing, that your shoulders are involved in this whole area, because when you fold, so when I lift like this, and then I fold, then the whole area here starts to descend. So the areas that I talked about, the 12 primary sections, which is the shoulder, the elbows, and the wrists on both sides, that's 6 on the upper level, 6 on the lower level, right? So that means that there's 6 and 6 working together. When you go up and down and up and down, when the movements are driving each other as a synchronization, then when one's driving the other that's going into passive, sort of a passive state, is using gravity, constantly, taking that advantage of that force that's acting on your body. So when you relax and you let your hands go, your hands will go down anyways, because gravity is acting on it. But it's your regulation or regulating the intensity of that movement through proprioception and understanding that this is what you're trying to do. So that's, what we struggle with throughout all this learning process. You learn the form, and then you take these concepts after going through that experience and understanding some of that concept, and it starts to sort of filter into your movements in the postures, and then you start to evolve. But till you get to a state where your body becomes intuitive and at the same time releasing tension, it always feels kind of awkward, or you could be feeling off, like you're off balance or not quite stable. So that's kind of the theory or the principle. Now, okay, so let's do the short form before we don't get into any of this. Okay, so let's go lifting up. So sink your elbow and relax. So your body actually is stable, but yet in some instances floating. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Single whip. Brush knee 4 times. Fist under elbow. Repulse the monkey. Hold the ball. Step up, diagonal flying. Turn. Insert the needle. Step forward. Fan to the back. Turn. Parry and punch. Step forward. Punch. Divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms. Leopard and tiger springs to mountain. Carry tiger to the mountain. Cross the hands, and you're going to put the left hand to the outside, and you're going to lift up like raising the hand, bend from the waist, stork flaps wings. Turn. Left side, grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrists. Open. Hold the ball. Reverse the ball. Diagonal flying. Sit back. Stroke down. Pot the horse's mane. Toe out, step up. Pot the horse's mane. Cross corner. Jade lady work shuttle. Cross corner. Jade lady work shuttle. Hook your wrists. Cloud hands. Hold the ball. Flip it over. Diagonal flying. Step to the back. Move it forward. Down. Deep breathing. So there's a lot of, actually all those things that I talked about is really guidance for you to understand, that the levels beyond sequence is where the benefit is. Learning the sequence already is a benefit because it took a lot of effort. But fundamentally, your body has to be ready to receive the information. Otherwise, you just house the information here, and it doesn't become part of what you do when you move until your body's ready. It has to be, movements have to be mature enough sort of to become able to assimilate some of these things. But it's time. It's a function of time. And, some people say, well, how much time do I have, right? Well, nobody knows how much time they have, but it doesn't mean you stop doing it simply because you don't know where it's going to go. It's not a waste of time. So, all the things that I talk about is to give you more insight and understanding of how all this works. And I think that's the missing link to most people that learn this stuff. They learn Tai Chi and they don't really understand it enough to, get an appreciation for it. But the thing is, since the pandemic hit and we shut down in March, I've learned a lot over the years of how you have to communicate with the outside world just through the audios. Because most of the things that we learn on a movement level is visual. We learn practically everything through the eyes. And we pick up in those images is what we see, and we try to interpret it. And that's how we learn movement. And we have this ability in the brain to do mirroring. It's something that's innate. So we copy. Anyone that comes to class the first day is copying. So I understand that the better visuals that I provide, the more you can learn to capture. But then you can only see what you can do or what you can understand. So that's a constant watching and doing over time. So that's why, when we do these classes, it's always a little bit different depending on what we're focusing on and what we're trying to develop. Because everyone in this class is seeing and perceiving different things differently. What Peter sees in the shoulders. We've been doing this for years, right? So what happens, it has to sort of catch up to what you think you're seeing. And then eventually your body will kind of assimilate those motions, and then it starts to evolve. But the motion itself has to enter somewhat of a, subconscious behavior where you know this action, and then you identified it with cloud hands. So you identify cloud hands. If I do cloud hands and I turn like this and I turn like this to palm strike, what did I do to get to that position was only change the position of my legs, change the position of my torso. That's palm strike face. Change the position of my hand. So when we're in this position and I turn, and I turn, and I turn, the palm strike face becomes a motion that we saw doing the cloud hands. But what we see the cloud hands because it's in front of us. But once we go like this and we turn to the side, it changes. And where do you shift the weight? How do you shift the weight? We kind of went over things like that on Saturday. We called the where, when, how, and why. We talked about, the acronym WWHW. But it's a sort of a systematized approach to how we view things, and then you start to pick it up. So the grasp the sparrow's tail, while we learn it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I teach it like this because for a new person, they can only see lines that are directly in front of you. But actually, movements are in space, so we have to build in the direction of movement, the geometry of position. So if we all look in the mirror, we can see that we have the center line, we have the 4 corners, or the 2 corners, and then when we get into this position, we're on the right side. So the most basic thing is to push forward, and then you change your hands and you come directly towards your center, and you push forward like that. So you can see from your own experience that that's a little bit rigid or linear. It's not even rigid, it's linear. It ends on your center if we're doing just the basic square movement. 1, 2, 3. But we know that we have a right and left direction. So if I take my center line and I start to come toward my center, here's my oblique arm position. When I turn it to this corner, which is the 45 corner, I change my hands here and I start to draw toward my center. But I pass my center and then I sink in the legs and I turn back in the same direction. And that creates the circular movement. And you end in the center until you pass your center and pivot your foot. And then we end up changing directions into the single whip. So that is what a circular form is. So Tai Chi should be round, but round doesn't mean your hands are always doing this. That's isolated. We want to integrate. So integration is how the human body works as a coordinated being. If you're isolated, which most people are, because what do? We sit in a chair and we do tasks and all we do is use one hand, right, to do whatever we have to do. So that's why the body doesn't know. So because we're sitting or we're standing in front of a desk, we're not really moving our legs. We're just moving our hands. So we're kind of isolated and segmented in how we do things. So when you do something like this, it becomes completely new. But yet, if you understand that when we're here and we go to this, we turn like this, and we turn like this, and then turn like this, you're creating a circular movement. Always tracking your center. So if you follow the hands, my hands are doing this. So the movement is completely circular. But nothing is isolated because everything is working. One is driving the other. There's passive, there's active, there's sinking, there's direction. You turn, you move in, and all the geometry of position is actually tied to the manipulation of your skeletal structure. And then we're here, and then there's a dimensional change. There's a rise, but I don't plant the left leg until now. When I bend, I actually go to this side and I lift and I turn a little bit more and I turn back to here. And then you can see that the joints in the torso are actually releasing tension. I can't go from here to here to here to here. That's all passive action. You're finding center by maneuvering through the space with your body. So when you get to here and you turn and you close and you do this, that's all the concept of connecting and disconnecting. So what you're connecting and disconnecting are your joints. So what restricts movement is tension. If the tension is in the joint and it holds it from moving, then you can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do strum the lute. If strum the lute is just 1, 2, then it becomes isolated in that space. But when you turn, some of it is this, some of it is this, some of it is this, and some of it is this. So the action and reaction becomes intuitive. Your body becomes, more intelligent. So intuitiveness comes from knowing, because you've been doing it from the experience. So the discovery, the experience, everything that we go through is the learning process. So hopefully that's helpful to anybody watching and anybody that's doing it. Now we'll go to the long form, and let's see how much time we got. We got about 20 minutes, so we can get through the long form. So I'll kind of, in certain postures, I'll say right and left, forward and back. Then that kind of gives you an idea of when your body should be moving. This is, it's sort of a general gross action. And then your hands, when I go right and then left, your hands would have to do what it's supposed to do within the position. Okay, so when we start off, we lift. That's up and down. We sink the elbows and knees. We move to the left and we move to the right. We find the vertical oblique to the horizontal elbow. We go to the right. Oops, sorry. Go to the right as we lift, shift the weight. Now we move to the torso to the right and then the left and grasp the sparrow's tails to the right, and it goes left low and back to the right, and then we push forward. We sit back and start to turn, so this hand is here till we hook. Turn to the left, move to the right, move to the left, move to the left with the shoulder, slant up, relax, move the foot in, move it out, turn to the right, turn to the left, move to the center forward, press down, step up, and bend. Control your leg work so you're moving one leg at a time. You turn a little bit this way as we shift, turn to the left, now we turn to the right. There's a little up and down here. You sit down, you sit back, you turn, you separate and split, 1 and 2. So anytime the hands join, they combine. Holding and sustaining as we turn to the left, and we split the hands or separate the hands as we turn and push. We sit back and we go forward again. We twist step, sustain the arms in horizontal position. You drop the elbow, you separate the hands, you squat down in one leg and you straighten that leg. Then you sit back and sink the elbow, turn to your right, go to center position, merge to the center line on the left side. Step up, fold the elbows and wrists, close the door. Relax the elbows and knees, turn to the left, form your fists, sink the elbow, and punch. Sit back, infinity sign, go to the left, merge to the right, and punch. Cross the arms, sink down, push forward. Bring the hands down, straighten the elbows, relax the wrists, turn, sit back, lower hoop, lift and arch your back, pull back, that's straightening your back, cross the forearms, sink the elbows and knees. Turn. Brush knee and push. So all those brush knees are exactly the same. The only difference is how we turn and where we're going. Go to the left, down, and push. Sit back, sink the elbow, grasp the sparrow's tail. So try to release and let the tension go. Single whip in the oblique. Okay, relax the shoulders, relax the neck, turn. Fist under elbow. Sink the elbow and the knees. Twist. Come back to center. Release the elbows and shoulders. Come forward. Go forward. Repulse the monkey. And go forward. Sit back. Turn to the left. Find your center. Move to the right as you straighten the back foot. Repulse the monkey second time, and then it happens again. Go forward. We twist. The rear foot straightens. So your body is connected if you're turning and allowing the foot to do the natural response. We lower. Carry tiger to the mountain. Lift up. Find your vertical position. Lift your knee, open the stance, squat down, spiral into the center, slant, diagonal, shift, move to the right, move to the left, move to center, press down, support yourself here, touch down, and lift. So we're always in that substantial and insubstantial leg transition. Now we sit and turn. So sitting is just releasing and sinking. Here's one brush knee. Shift back to the rear leg. Up and down. forward. Spread the arms, fan through the back. Turn, vertical, hammer fist. Invert the hand, relax the shoulders, sink the elbow, form the fist, and we retreat. Divert, block, and punch. Release the tension in the lower back so you can sit into your stance. Step up, grasp the sparrow's tail, and we're back. Here's your first hook position again. Single whip, and draw across. Hold the ball, turn your shoulders, release the hips, diagonal flying. And this is really the beginning of cloud hands. So the first move is similar to the diagonal flying action. So we're here. Here's your adjustment. There's a right and left position. Move to the right. We move to the left one more time. Sit back, turn to the right, back to here. And we hook our wrists. Step out, but leave the shoulders until we open to the corner. And then we're back to center. Reset. That's a reset. Set up 1, 2, 3. Flip it over. Fold the elbows as you step up. Lift the elbows and knee. Kick. Bring it down. Cross the wrists. Open. That's high pat the horse. Fold the elbows. Lift the knee and elbows. Extend. Turn. Pivot on the heel. Drop the right hand on top. Fold the elbows. Heel kick. And then go to neutral left. Turn to your right. Brush knee and push. Then we have one on the other side. Standard procedure, toe out, step through, turn to the left, go down and out. Planting punch, go forward. 1, 2, 3. Turn. Parry and punch. Palm strikes face. This is high pat the horse. Flip it over, face the rear corner or that corner over there. Open, cross behind, bring the hand down and bring it up. Turn like this to this corner, stroke down towards your center, past your center. Jade Lady work shuttle. Turn. We have a lower hoop, a cross wrist, a flat arm, a knee up, and a heel kick. Lower hoop, 2 punches to the ear. We sit back, but we turn a little bit to the left so that we can turn to the right. We fold, parting leg, we cross, pivot, pivot, flip the hands over, the left hand's on top. We fold as we drop the knees, we lift as we straighten, parting leg, stroke down, invert the hand, parry and punch. Form the fist and punch. Divert, block, and punch. Cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs the mountain. Repeating the carry tiger to the mountain. Lower hoop, upper hoop, palms back, and cross. Turn to the corner, repeat the obliques. Grasp the sparrow's tail, no oblique. Same grasp the sparrow's tail throughout the form. And we turn to the front. And then we hold the ball. We reverse the ball. Turn, turn, diagonal flying. Turn. Pot the horse's mane. Find your center. Stroke down. sit back and do it one more time, but this time just cap the top and go right through. Toe out, step up, find your center line, left hand forward, stroke down, part the horse's mane. Toe out, step up, right foot forward, find your center, stroke down, turn to your left, lean down, and expand. One more time. So you elongate the movement by going forward and splitting the hands. Now sit back, cross corner, find your vertical left, find your horizontal elbow, sit back, relax the shoulders and elbows. Every time you relax your shoulder, you have to sink your arms or your elbows, so you have a downward movement. Sink, forward, one. Where are we? Oh, Jay, stroke down. I thought I was doing it right. Okay, crossover. Oh. And Jay laid it. I put the mirrors up. I didn't know. Here we go. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Stroke down. Grasp the sparrow's tail. And we turn back to the front. And then we hold the ball, and we're going to go through the second set of cloud hands, which we already know. And we're here. Now we're going to do the downward posture. Find your vertical, press down, snake sticks out tongue, lift up, turn it down, draw down, step up, cross the hands, and stand on one leg, press down, thrust and kick, opposite side, neutral, reverse. Repulse the monkey again, so we know this. This is the second set, so it's just repeating the movement, so we have a little bit more practice with this backward stepping. Now we go to neutral right, lower hoop. Lift the hands to carry tiger to the mountain. Open the stance. Spiral down. Shift the weight to diagonal flying. Shift, step up and press. Press down and lift. So what goes up must come down, what goes down must come up. We bend, stalk flaps wings, and here's the second set of brush knee and insert needle. Insert needle, fan through the back. Okay, now we're here, turn. We stroke down, parry and punch just like before. And we form the fist and step up. We punch, sit back, divert, block and punch. Take a step forward, grasp the sparrow's tail. Hook your wrist. Turn to the front. Here's a second set of cloud hands. Third set of cloud hands, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're back. Okay, next we have set up, reverse the ball, turn the shoulders, come in through the center, palm strikes face. Sit back, cross the arms, and we're like this. And once we're on this side, we can just do a crescent kick or
single lotus, and we do a left side brush knee. Then we go forward, then we twist step, and we do a left side punch down the crotch. Then we do a right side grasp the sparrow's tail. Okay, and same grasp the sparrow format. It's all right-sided movements. We hook the wrist. Then we're going to do the second downward posture. Find neutral left. Step, turn your body. Snake sticks out tongue. Invert the hand. Pull down. Go up. Cross the hands to 7-star. Step backwards. Separate the hands. Toe out on the right. Step up with the left. And we're riding the tiger. Palm strikes face. Turn. Come through your center. Now we're here. We do the double lotus kick. Bring it to the right. Bring your leg to the left. Bring it down. Fold the elbows. Straighten the back leg. Set up again. This is the same setup. Hold the ball and turn. Palm strikes face. Now we cross the arms and do a parry and punch. Then we step up, set up. That could be a palm strikes face. This is high pat to horse. We sit back to left neutral, toe out to right neutral, grasp the sparrow's tail. Turn to the front, hook your wrists, hold the ball, reverse, right side diagonal flying, close the form. Deep breathing. So, that's a sequence. I think everybody is pretty good with that. So, the reason why we have to sometimes turn the torso, actually turn the torsos in everything. Sometimes people say, so should I do that at this point? It should happen everywhere, just that when you ask if you should do that, it's probably because you're not doing that. So you're trying to figure out, should I or shouldn't I? Well, when you do a parry and punch, when you come back, if you didn't turn, it would look like that. Now, if your arm's really close enough and you go like this, you'd probably hit yourself in the chin on the way out. So that makes sense that we would actually do this. Sit back and then turn so that the chin is not there. It just goes by your body. So turning is to create the space, to give you enough space and dimension to create a motion that's really circular. So this is what's happening when we make a back fist, right? So we're turning. So when we're forward here and we sit back and we turn, to make the space, you have to actually bring this hand up so you have an opening here. So between this and this, you end up here. So anytime your hand goes like up and down past each other, it's a separation. So that's really a splitting energy, if you want to consider it an energy, or a splitting motion. Just like diagonal flies, a splitting motion. When you turn and you do a brush knee and the hand goes up and this is down, that's a separation. There's a splitting action there. In contrast to that, when I go like this and I move, they're actually working together. They're supporting in tandem. This is separating, and then this is up and down, and this is right and left together. This is up and down. That's splitting, and they're separating. This is joining. So, when you talk about yin and yang and motion, there's always a balance. Your movements work together to complement each other and support each other in some ways. Splitting is equal opposite reaction based on, in physics you have to have this equal opposite reaction in some ways. rooting is really finding the vertical position, sending, the connection to ground, and like a tree, this always uses an analogy, metaphors of roots growing in a tree. The deeper they go, the more stable you'll be. The stiffer you are, the harder you fall. So that's what the oak tree falls and the willow tree floats, because the leaves don't resist the wind. So that's how the body is. So we have to understand that, we're vertical, and we have a sense of relaxation where the feet are entering ground and it's penetrating, because you feel like you're going deeper into it. At the same time, that happens because when we relax our joints and they're stacked, then your center of gravity actually goes lower, because upper body tension creates upper body instability. So you become top heavy. So what happens when you get top heavy? You have to build a stronger base, right? So all these buildings that are like that, in the ground, there's a tremendous amount of structural support so that it doesn't tip over. So that's what we do with our body. When we go like this, if you're tense, you're going to be like this. So you want to relax here and be stable here. And the deeper that goes and the more vertical you are, without any lean, then the more stable you are. Because as soon as you lean, now you have to compensate for that with this and this. Because if I do this, I'm going to go this way, right? So when we do the parting leg and we cross over, we want to go this way so we can turn to go this way. So sometimes you want to take your leg over there. Most of the time you don't want to. So, all right, I think that's about it. We're running 5 minutes late. So on that note, we got to see Peter. What's Peter's back say? Because we see it in the camera. Blank. Okay, so hope everyone gets something out of that. Otis, did you get something out of that? Okay, good. Okay, so it's job security. I have to work harder to try to get my. Okay. That's true. Because of you. Don't leave. Don't leave, because you can't be replaced. I have to look far and deep to find a replacement. So I'm,
So, I don't know if I brought a cookie for everyone this morning, but I actually put them in the oven this morning for coming.
Actually, I think you left them in the oven because I didn't see anybody getting one.
No,
Oh yeah.
I get them right now.
Okay.
Oatmeal chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, that's the best.
Steve, well, I apologize. It never occurred to me that if I had somebody else's, banner.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure.
No. You know,
Took the one that was on top
Dartmouth. No.
from years ago.
Oh yeah. It just shows you this T-shirt has longevity.
Yeah, this is, as a freshman, I did this.
Wow, that T-shirt's pretty old.
Yeah. I don't have any. It shows you how little. 65 years.
So that's because people purge their stuff and say, I won't wear this again.
I never, I showed you how infrequently I wear this.
Yeah.
It happened to be on top.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I won't touch it. Oh.
Why not? How are you going to eat it?
Oh no, but I don't want to, because it could, social distancing.
So why don't you reach in and take
Okay, I'll have it later. I think I got to I'll do a Parkinson's class. Okay, so you're a frequent flyer. You've improved a lot. Yeah. Well, it keeps it fluid. It keeps you, connected. But you have Testing 1, 2. Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to start the Tai Chi Paradigm for Parkinson's this morning, and we just finished the other class. I always run a little bit late when the students leave because there's always a little bit of a conversation, so sorry for that. So we're going to just begin with our warm-ups. Typically it's turning the waist. We can do it like this with the hands or hold a ball like this. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and stop. Remember, we're twisting, working the lower back a little bit, not real physical, gently turn so that you can go and give your torso a little bit of a stretch. Okay, next we're going to put the hand like this, bending to the side, giving that a stretch. And what are we stretching? This is this side, arching over. Put your hand here. 1, 2, 3. So if you don't want the pulse, you just stretch, stretch, stretch. Stretch, stretch, stress. And we're going to do it a couple more times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, next. Hands here, hands on your thighs. Slide down. 1, 2, 3. Go to your right. 1, 2, 3. Go to your left. 1, 2, 3. And then we lift up and inhale. Exhale and press down. Okay, we're going to go, we do 3 sets of these. So we're down here. 1, 2, 3. We move to the right. 2, 3. We move to the left. 2, 3. And we move to center. Inhale and exhale. Now let's get our hands on our waist. A few circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's reverse other direction. Let's do 8 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, next, cross. So these, as I mentioned, the other class are fairly simple. So build a routine, do them, each and every day. These are not taxing. It's just a series of limbering up exercises. They work your joints. Switch the hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're relaxing the knees and the ankles. 7 and 8. So you can just hold your kneecaps and you can feel them sometimes cracking if you're not used to this. Now hands here. Turn to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. This back and forth. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, good. Now tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center, hands up. Pull in, up on your toes. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay, so those are all the sort of limbering up exercise that I do, and this just to get you familiar. And I talk a lot about trying to release the tension in your torso your upper body, because there's a lot of rigidity with people experience the Parkinson's syndromes. You have that tension, and then I guess walking is always sometimes a problem. So I try to address some of those problems so that you kind of understand what the process is, the mechanism. Tension is restricting, so you want to try to get rid of that tension. And I think movement is one of the things that avoids some of that conflict. People the tendency is to be a little bit more rigid and stiff, because sometimes that's a defensive mechanism. So if you're stressed, and whatever's in the forefront of your mind could put you in a stressed position. Obviously, if you have Parkinson's, you're probably sometimes concerned and you think about it. So try to avoid that thinking part of it, and just let your body kind of adapt and learn some of the techniques that I'm teaching you here. A lot of it is leg work, stepping, shifting of weight, and how do we do that? We're in this V position. That's actually a 90-degree. The feet are kind of turned out, and we square the feet. And when we're in this position, we do the leg work. So I turn like this, and I end up here. Then I turn back to center. I turn, this is the heel going out as we pivot on the ball of the foot. And that takes us in a direction, and we go forward and back and move back to center. And you may say, well, what does that do? Well, you're learning to shift your weight, alternating your legs. That's a coordination. You're pivoting on the heel, which takes you in a direction. You're pivoting on the ball of the foot. So you're actually learning to move your feet, building some control of the pivoting, which is really the ball of your foot or the heel of your foot. Those are two areas that we can use to pivot, also two areas that we use to contact the surface. And what do I mean by that? Well, when we take a step forward, when our feet are in this position and we take a step forward, we're using the heel down first, and then you roll to the ball of the foot. Now, if you look from the side view, and I took a left stance or left foot forward, and then I start to go forward, that's the leaning and the backward stance. But when I go like this, at some point, my toe is the heel is going to rise up, and I'm going to go through the toe position, which is the ball of the foot, and then I'm going to go to the next position, which is the heel. Then it's going to go down, and when I shift enough weight forward, you'll go to the ball of the foot, and then we get to here. Now, that's a typical step. Now, when I go forward in the Tai Chi stance, which is shifting of weight, what you're doing is keeping the back foot flat. So the reason we do that is to shift weight and control our supporting leg. So we don't go to the ball of the foot here. We just go forward so we can learn to relax our ankles. Relax the ankles. And then when you sit back, this is called the empty stance. This is also an empty stance. So empty stance means the front leg is light. So the important part of having a light foot on the front, because that becomes your front leg, and you kind of touch down lightly. And you touch down lightly. Okay, so that's footwork in Tai Chi. But actually what it's doing is teaching you and making you more aware or conscious of what the legs have to do when we walk or step. Okay, so that gives you an idea. We've gone to the triangle positions, and this is really in a lot of the previous videos. Okay, and we turn and we switch the other side. This is some of the previous videos. So we're just going to do a few of these. If you want to visit those other videos that's on YouTube, you're welcome to do that. And a lot of them, we're doing the same movements. The information sometimes is on a On the verbal side, sometimes a little bit different because I'm explaining it in different ways. So there's your triangle, and there's your shifting, where this arm and this leg is on the same side. When I turn, this arm and this leg's on the same side. Now the other thing that we do, this is an exercise I haven't done for a while, but it's really swinging the arms. So you exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. You look from the side view, it's exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. You're standing, just relax the upper body and swing your arms. You exhale on the back, you inhale on the front stroke. Breathe through your nose, tongue touches the roof of your mouth. So this exercise is as simple as you can get. You're just taking your two arms and they're parallel, and you swing your arms. We do maybe a dozen, 30 of these in a class, and it's a simple exercise. You're actually swinging your arms like when you're walking, so it's a good exercise to get your blood circulating. You're kind of pressing and letting go. You can do that, 20, 30, 50 times. You can either do it by the count or you can do it for time. You could spend 5 minutes on it and build it to 10 minutes or whatever, just swinging your arms. But as an exercise, so you don't overdo it, just spend 2 or 3 minutes doing it. And then if you like the exercise, you can do it more times. Using time without counting will just give you an idea. You want to count to have a goal to say, well, I did 100, I did 200. Then you can do it like that. But it's just monitoring how many times you do it. It's a very simple exercise. You're just swinging your arms, and your body is kind of experiencing the motion. Now, when the arms swing, typically when we walk, we do this, right? So we're not swinging them together. This is that exercise. When we walk, we actually swing it like this. Which leads me to the exercise that we do this, right? We swing our arms, and we're going to bring the opposite side forward. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we switch the other side. The hands are doing this. Then you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so one thing to avoid, now I'm going to show you what you shouldn't do. What you shouldn't do is this. Go forward and then sit back, forward and sit back. You shouldn't be taking the weight off of this front leg. So in other words, when I do this and I go back, the leg is actually still fairly light. So when you touch, you can tap the toe and you'll know if you're doing this. So avoid that, because this is control. So what we're trying to do is build the coordination where the hands and legs are working together, right? So we'll hear 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's just the exercise. Typically, when you go forward, you would put the heel down if you're taking a step. You don't actually walk on your tiptoes. You walk heel to toe. So when we move, if we're taking a step, and 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 a step, there's that constant relationship of the hand and the leg working. So, a lot of times people with Parkinson's, when they walk, they kind of stiffen the upper body, so you're not moving your arms. You should learn to move your arms with the leg because there's much more balance. But the other thing is, just think of exercise. Exercise should be working your whole body, not necessarily working with weights. We're just building motion. Movement is essential to life, so actually you should learn to be more aware and pay more attention to how we should be moving our body in a coordinated fashion. So when the hands and the legs are working like this, that's what we're developing. So, we're creatures of habit, so we have to do things over and over again. And when we do things over and over again, what ends up happening is we start to learn it. We learn it, we get better at it by sort of discovering that, if I do it like this, it's better than this way. If I do it like this, it's better than this way. So while, I'm giving you these samples, when you practice it, you may feel a little awkward. You may feel that it's not working the way you think it's supposed to. So you just do it more. Not more in the sense of doing hundreds and thousands of them. Do it frequently. More meaning frequently. Do it frequently with, repetition in, say, groups of 6 or 10 until you build kind of a pattern of doing these things, and then you'll have a routine. Now, when our feet are like this is shoulder width. This is feet closer together with about maybe 3 inches between your feet or 2.5 inches between your feet. It doesn't have to be measured exactly, but you could use your foot. If you touch the 2 inner parts of the shoe and then go to the outside of the one of the feet, you'll have a space about the width of your feet. That works too. That's a little bit bigger, but when your feet are like this, you have this imaginary center line, and then if I pivot in this direction, I can turn this foot, and I go to the ball of that foot. And I think this is the drill and this exercise that I like you to work with to turn corners, because I think turning corners sometimes becomes a problem, meaning changing direction. So if you're going to change directions, steer the same side foot in the direction until you can face that direction by pivoting, and then you can take your step. Okay? Now, that happens in 2 directions. So I turn here, I'm here. So whichever foot's on the ball of the foot goes to the heel. Whichever foot's on the ball goes to the heel. And that's how we step. And during that period of shifting, we in a state of suspended position where we're suspended and balanced on one leg. The key thing is knowing that we have to carry our weight on one leg. Okay? So where is that happening at one-legged position? It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. Now I'm not moving my arms now. I'm just showing you that we're just moving our foot. It's like this leg is doing everything. So the hand would do this and this. Okay? So I'm going to go this way by pivoting. Then I'm going to walk 1, 2, 3, and the feet are back together. I'm going to pivot this way and then take your step. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to pivot this way. I'm going to take my step. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pivot, and I'm going to take my step. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pivot, take my step. I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pivot, turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn. And then I bring my right hand out, then my left, my right, and my feet are together. I pivot. I bring this hand out because it's opposite side. 1, 2, 3, and here. Now I'm going to turn back toward the front camera, and I'm here. Okay. If I turn this way, it's 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go this way. I bring the opposite side, so the toe side and the hand are on the same side. And then I switch. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to turn and go to the ball of the foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. turn back to center, and I'm here. Turn, 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 turn. So all of these is, if you do it, then you don't have to think so much because movements end up going into what I call a subconscious motion. And it's the opposite leg like this. So, those are motions that we don't pay attention to, but that's because we don't think, a lot about how things happen. But when the hands are like this, so some of you, I'm pretty sure, throughout your life, you may have tried bowling. So what do we do when we go bowling? We hold the ball, we take a few steps, and then we do this. So that's actually this. Why is it throwing the ball this way and not with the front leg? It's because there's an equal opposite counterbalancing motion there. So just take, for instance, when we're here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a posture and there's a balance. You go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we're doing when we do this. So the body does have a balancing mechanism where there's a coordination between the hand and the legs. When we walk, that's what we should be doing, and be much more mindful that the hand and the legs actually work together. Now, because I teach Tai Chi and martial arts, there's a lot of this kind of body balancing happening when we're doing movements and postures. Now, it's something that's not unique. It's unique in our training, but it's not unique to the human body. It's really something that the body should possess naturally, but because through evolution or through just really not using our body the way we potentially can, we start to lose this potential because it just gets pruned out of our brain thinking it doesn't need it. But actually, when it comes to push and shove, we start to need things that we have to rely on as a concept. So when we stand and we go to shoulder width and we shift our weight and we move, this becomes something that is seems so basic but yet so critical in understanding how we should move in the body mechanics involved in learning something that used to be in our subconscious or used to be something that we know. But the thing is, when you start to lose this ability, then it becomes stressful. So these are samples of what you can do to kind of build back some of the understanding in the body. And ultimately what we're doing is building body intelligence. Make a smarter body and your body will start to communicate with your brain a little bit better as far as understanding how this all happens. So anyways, that's it for today. We did about 25 minutes of basic fundamentals and some concepts. So every class I try to bring in some ideas and concepts of what could be helpful to you, because I try to focus on what I think will get you to connect and click, because a lot of times people have different ways of learning. So if I do things the same way every single time, even though on the physical level that's what you see, the information is slightly different, so that you can maybe understanding in that way. Whether it's a metaphor or an idea or analogy of what it's similar to, like I just brought in this idea of how we step and shift in the bowling motions. And, it just gives you the idea that when you're coordinated and you have something in your hand and you're moving, it becomes functional, and everything that we do really ties into functionality. So these videos are recorded. It's on YouTube. You look up Calvin's Martial Arts Academy or Tai Chi Paradigm for Parkinson's. There's a bunch of videos on there that you can watch. I've been doing this since the March 15th, since the pandemic hit, I started doing these classes. Some of them were longer. Some of them have a lot more exercise that we did in a typical class. But I realized with the video, it's a little bit too much. It's kind of daunting to go through all of that. So if it's too much and people won't do it because it's too much, then this tuning into this makes it a lot more simple. I focus on something that you may, want as a platform to work with. If you're still interested in doing something more in depth, we have the regular videos, Tai Chi Paradigm, Tai Chi form. We have the 108 form. We do those live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday in the morning. They're all archived and you can watch it. So if you have been watching this, and I don't know exactly who's following and watching, it would be helpful if you could send just an email to info@calvinchin.com. That's info@calvinchin.com, and just drop a line saying, yes, I've been watching the videos and it's been helpful. And if you had a question, you can kind of put it there. And then when we look at those emails, at least I know who's following, if there's anybody following, if it's been helpful, and what other things I could address. And that way I can do that when I do these videos on Thursday mornings at 11:10. So on that note, try to do that. Just drop us a note, info@calvinchin.com. Calvin is like Calvin Klein, C-A-O-V-I-N. Chin is C-H-I-N, like your chin. All right. So thank you for watching. If you're watching, and hopefully you got something out of this.